All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. I also want to give double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say peace, blessings, and I want to give salutations unto you elect across the four winds of this earth, fulfilling your lots in all truth and all sincerity. I'm the brother Sha'ar from the Great Millstone Dallas branch, and I'm coming to you all with another lesson, which is inspired by the Holy Spirit. And Lord willing, this lesson here will be edifying unto the flock. And this lesson here is going to be based on an article that I stumbled across earlier. And the page is dailymail.com.uk. And in this article, you have two Republican congressmen that are making claims about the UFOs, because these UFOs, as the world calls them, UFOs or UAPs, now that they call them, which stands for unidentified aerial phenomenon. But as these past few years, you've had people within politics and such that have been openly putting it out there about the existence of UFOs. They'll say aliens and such and such. And as these years progress, especially these last few years, as we've entered into 2024, there's quite a bit of anomaly that's been transpiring here since the beginning of 2024, which another one is right here. And this was actually put out there January 17th, 2024. Again, you got these congressmen that are making claims that the UFOs could be angels that are sent by God, as they say. As they say, the sightings are consistent with scriptures from the Bible. All right, now there's a few angles that I just want to bring up, touching up on this, because we know Esau is very cunning, and we can't put it past him that this man would try to fake an invasion. All right, and I always have that in the back of my mind, that Esau would try to fake his own invasion, trying to portray it as the coming of Yahweh Shai. All right, so I keep that in mind, but at the same time, according to the scriptures, we do know that the angels were identified in the scriptures the same way that people identify that phenomenon now as UFOs and such. And what I mean, case in point, is that you find certain scriptures where you can read about heavenly bodies and the cherubims and the angels and the chariots in the sky. All right, you had Elijah that was taken up in the air by what's called a chariot of fire. You have the prophet Zechariah that lifted up his eyes. Matter of fact, let me bring these precepts out since I'm quoting them. I might as well just bring them out real quick because I'm bringing them up. But you have these examples here within the scriptures that identifies beings and objects in the sky in very strange ways and very strange patterns. And when you read scriptures like what I'm about to read here, this is Zechariah chapter 5, verse 1. All right, and this is an account of our forefather Zechariah, who was a prophet, having discourse or a conversation with one of the Lord's angels. Okay, so when you read this in Zechariah 5 and 1, it says, "Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll." So he identified this phenomenon as a flying roll. All right. Now, obviously, of course, we know that a roll is like a scroll. All right. And those don't fly. But what he's seen in the sky mimicked what looked like a scroll. All right. And you do have UFOs that are very strange shaped. You know, just as a quick testimony, last week when I was outside doing some cooking, you know, it's out there. I kind of see chariots out there when I grill food or smoke meats or whatever. And I seen a tic-tac shaped chariot that was moving across the sky. And when I looked at it, immediately what came to mind was Zechariah, the 5th chapter. You know, because, you know, a roll, he goes into how it was longer than it was wider. Just going back to it, it says, "And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. All right, so it was longer than it was wider, what he saw. And he can only identify it as a flying roll from what he saw, but really that was a chariot. All right. And in today's terms, if you was to look up and see that in the sky, all right, obviously we know those are the chariots of the Lord. But if we was to look up in the sky and see something like that, or better yet, I'm going to say something like this. If somebody in the world, because they have those documents out there too, and you can watch YouTube videos and such of people looking up and seeing the chariots, and they're like, what is that? They don't know what it is. They can't identify it, so they're going to say a UFO. All right. And what Zechariah saw, he's seen a chariot. All right. And he likened them to a flying scroll. And again, you had certain prophets that liken them to being chariots. You have certain prophets that liken them to being a wheel. And that's in Ezekiel, the first chapter, which this article that I'm getting ready to go back into, they use Ezekiel 1 as an example. And you even have, some of y'all might know what I'm talking about, what I'm about to say. Some of y'all might not. But there has been, I don't want to say a movement, but there has been videos floating around about AI generating biblically accurate angels. And when you look at it, of course, it has, it's a bugged out look. They got the wings with all the eyes on them and such like that. And at the end of the day, what's in the heavenly realm, we know there's different types of angels. There's different there's different types. You got some that look like men. You got some that look like beasts. All right. And the list goes on and on and on. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is the spirit is on people to identify biblically accurate angels, and they're starting to realize not all angels come down looking like men. And they damn sure are realizing that they don't look like that Renaissance art that people have been drawing for quite some time, that people have been promoting for the past few centuries. All right. You got the little baby, naked babies with the wings and the halos that they'll say those are the cherubim, when really the cherubim are the chariots that we see, are those ships. All right. They can change shape. They can change sizes. Hey, the brother Benaiah just seen the brother and Tazamah, the brothers Benaiah and Tazamah, both in our camp, both spotted the same chariot at the same time and posted it at the same time. And the brother Benaiah, what he saw, because he was having, I don't want to say doubt in his mind, but when you're looking up in the sky and then you see something moving through the clouds and you might think it's a plane. So as soon as the brother had that thought that it might be a plane, it glowed real bright and it shot a laser beam out of it. This was just last week, by the way. All right. So we know what that is. OK, but I brought that up to say the things that they can do, the shapes that they can form. Again, Esau will identify it as unidentified because he always tries to put a label on something. But even this right here, with it being called unidentified, shows you that is really unknown to this guy. When I say this guy, I'm talking about Esau Edom, because he loves to label things. He loves to identify and name things, whatever they are. But when it comes to this, they can't do it. All right. It makes me think about the hidden manna. When the manna was revealed unto the children of Israel, the first thing they said was, what is it? And in Revelation, Yahushua talks about how he's going to, as long as we overcome, we're going to be given that hidden manna, which manna means, what is it? I'm not saying the chariots are manna, but all the mysteries that are tied to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Yahushua, that we've been revealed to them is, what is it? They can't identify it. They can't put a label to it. They can try to their best, but they don't know. All right. And you see that when it comes to the chariots, which makes sense why they call them unidentified flying object or unidentified aerial phenomenon. All right. But going back to the point, circling back to it, now you have these officials and such that are high in political office that are announcing these things, man. And ultimately, it's going to show you that the Spirit of the Lord is upon the face of the earth. And as you read in Isaiah, the 25th chapter, it talks about that covering cast that was over the people, that veil is being lifted. All right. All the lies that's being brought out, all the things that are being exposed. There's a lot of things that are happening, especially since 2024 has started. It's been a lot of stuff going on, and be prepared to see a lot more things. All right. I'm about to pull up one more precept and I'm going to get right back to this article. I'm going to do some reading on it. But I'm going to read this here in Sirach chapter 36, because it was to a point when it comes to these chariots that Esau was trying to hide them. It was a point where he was trying to disclaim them. He actually had cases and files, all right, and footage of these chariots that have been revealed, and they've been hiding them since the 1970s, which ironically enough, that's around the time where we was awakened up who we are. That's around the time period where this knowledge was being redistributed on the earth. All right. You had Abba Bivens. All right. And his students, King Mashal, High Priest Ariyah, High Priest Yaikwab, and so forth. All right. Ironically enough, in the 1970s, the beginning of the 1970s, that's when they started disclosing those UFO files. And they had them all the way disclosed all the way up until 2021. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was 144 files that they had hidden all the way from 1970. And they released them in 2021. And I remember I did a lesson on it before, but again, they can't hide it no more. So now they got to put it out there. And again, it wouldn't surprise me, if they tried to fake their own invasion, because the chariots are out here anyway. Esau is the master of deception and a liar. Okay, so, these are things not to, or I'd rather say these are things to consider. These are things not to count out. Now, this is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36, and I'm going to jump straight to it here in verse 6. And it says, show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. All right, so these are new signs that are being revealed in the earth. And these new signs are in the form of strange wonders. Just as you read it in Isaiah 28 or 29, where it says how the Lord would do a strange work, just like he did in Perizim and just like he did in Gibeon or Gilead, one of those two. I think Gibeon, if I'm not mistaken. There's strange works that are being revealed and done on the earth, just as the scriptures prophesied and promised. And now you have these heathen out here that are talking about them. All right. Now you have them that are talking about it. So let's go back to this article here. And again, it's www.dailymail.com.uk. Lord willing, the Spirit has me remember to post this in the description box. But I'm going to just do some reading. All right. Play a little bit of this video that they have on here. And that might be the video. But back in the article says they may not fit exactly. Matter of fact, you know what? Because they're talking about, again, the UFOs. It says they might not fit exactly the biblical narrative, which they actually do. All right, they actually do fit the biblical narrative. But whenever I use the term angels, as he told that UFO podcast Tuesday to me, it's synonymous with an extra dimensional being. And that's exactly what the angels are. They're extra dimensional beings. They're able to move through different dimensions. All right. It ain't that they have a planet that they live on. No, the spirit world or the spirit realm is another dimension. All right. We here in this world, in this planet, operate on what's called the third dimension. OK. But you have the heavenly hosts and the angels that operate on a dimension that's past that, which is why you can see them hover in place, which is why you can see them change shape, which is why you can see these chariots look like they literally vanish in thin air. All right. They're traveling interdimensionally. When they go from this world to the spirit world, that's a dimensional shift. That's a change in traveling in dimension. And that's exactly what's being done. All right. Man, there was a video I seen a few days ago, and it was a chariot that somebody actually zoomed in on. And when they zoomed in on it from a distance, it looked like an orb, like a gray orb in the sky. But when they zoomed in on it, it looked weird, man. I can't explain it. I can't explain what I saw. All right. Now, we know those to be the chariots, and we know that we can't really explain it to the T. Even the Apostle Paul had difficulties explaining what he experienced when he was in the spirit world, when you read it in 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I went on the comment board and somebody posted, it was actually multiple people that posted, man, this looks like what AI generates as a biblically accurate angel. And when I saw that, and it kind of chuckled a little bit because, again, as I said earlier, AI is generating what the angels look like because we're living in an AI society where people are literally relying on artificial intelligence. And this AI has become wild. All right. It's become next level, But again, case in point, going to the point why I'm bringing this all up, somebody identified that as a biblically accurate angel. All right. And what I saw, obviously, we know those are the angels and such. But yeah, it didn't have a look of those cherubims that Michelangelo and them was painting in the Dark Ages, during the Dark Ages. No. All right. Things are happening right now on the earth, as the scripture said in Sirach, the 36th chapter where the Lord said to show new signs. Or I'd rather say that prayer of Yahweh Shai asked the Lord to show new signs. And we're definitely seeing that prayer being fulfilled, especially in these last days. All right, now I'm going to read a little bit more of this. It says, he told that UFO podcast Tuesday to me, it's synonymous with an extra dimensional being. Excuse me. He added in a lot of different scriptures, including the Bible and others, that really the way that you describe messengers of God are angels. Republican Burleson's comments echo statements by fellow GOP Congressman Tim Burchett, who told reporters last year that he believes the first chapter of Ezekiel is pretty clear of a UFO sighting. And they weren't the first ones to say this too, man. This is how we've been broke the scriptures down, starting with our apostles and elders for years. All right, now these people are finally getting with the program and seeing it. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit of this video. Hopefully y'all can hear it.
District of Missouri.
Salakia, hold on. My internet's tripping. Don't mind the commercial. All right.
When I read Grush's report that's public, that anyone can read, in the report he described that one of the theories is that what we're encountering are beings that are extra dimensional or interdimensional. Well, in a lot of different scriptures, including the Bible and others, that's really the way that you describe messengers of God, or angels. And so,
mind you, this guy's sitting in an office. You see the flags in the back. This ain't no regular guy that's just sitting here on a podcast just talking. No, this is a congressman right here. This is one of the leaders in America. All right, this is one of the noblemen in the scriptures. Okay,
they may not fit exactly the biblical narrative.
And I'd rather say I said a nobleman in the scriptures. Let me elaborate on that. This is one of the noblemen of Babylon. All right, this is a chief nobleman of Babylon that's talking about that. Okay.
But whenever I use the term angels, to me it's synonymous with an extra dimensional being.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to That UFO podcast. And joining me for this special update representing the 7th District of Missouri, I have Congressman Eric Burleson. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
It's great to be on.
Very good to speak to you. I don't think you've done too many of these podcasts yet, so I'm glad to have you. It's been really good getting this set up, and thank you to Ben for helping me get that done. Now, you have given me permission to call you Burley. But I did say that with the accent, that is going to be absolutely brutal for anyone listening to it. But I do appreciate that. Eric, listen, we've got a limited time and I've got a lot to ask you. And I want to try and do this justice for the listeners and viewers who appreciate you being involved in the UFO, UAP topic as you have been. And I just want to know, you've been involved in the topic now from a public point of view for people like myself from the...
And I'm going to say this too, because, yeah, the video you hear in the background and such, this is for educational purposes only. Not recording this to try to make any money off of it. Not trying to receive any clout or recognition off of this person's video. This is strictly for edification. All right. And again, this will be posted, Lord willing. This link will be posted in the description box. Okay.
Hearings in July 2023. What was your kind of first incline from a political point of view? There was something worth dedicating your time to in Congress on this subject?
Yeah, I would say that I've always been fascinated by the topic, and I've always had a mistrust of government. So when you combine the two of those, that's kind of where my position is rooted from. I always had a fascination with science and with aerospace and space in general. As a kid, I studied, what I could. In fact, I've attempted to read books on quantum mechanics, and as best as I can without being going to college in that subject, it's something that fascinates me. So I never thought in a million years when I ran for Congress that this topic would be one that I could be involved with. Being elected official is one where you most of the topics are not this interesting. So to me, this subject matter is kind of the icing on the cake. It's a very interesting topic, but I think that it fits within my wheelhouse. My background, I was a software engineer and a project manager in the IT industry, in addition to being an investment advisor. And so I come to things with a little bit more of an analytical perspective. Or within the UFO or the UAP caucus, I'm probably the most skeptical person when it comes to whether or not what we're seeing is extraterrestrial. And so that's kind of the perspective that I come from.
All right. So as you saw, it was only a 3 minute video. Well, as you heard, I'd rather say it was only a 3 minute video, but he was pretty much coming from a position of somebody that was very skeptical and stuff like this at a point in time. But it's to the point where somebody of this caliber is disclaiming that and putting that out there. And he was actually on a podcast with I don't know who the guy is. It sound Irish to me. All right. But hey, again, as the article states, and this is dailymail.com, but he's one of the 2 Republican congressmen that are talking about UFOs being angels. All right. And best believe when our Lord Yahushua comes, it's going to look like what the world would perceive as an alien invasion. All right. Which is why they've talked about this for quite some time. I mean, this has been talked about for decades. Ever since I was a little kid, you've always had movies that came out of the world being invaded. You had Independence Day. All right. You had The Day the Earth Stood Still. You got War of the Worlds. I remember when I was young, you had a parody movie called Mars Attacks, where it was little Martians that came down talking about we come in peace, but really they was going to work and saying we come in peace and started killing them niggas. I'm like, damn. So these are things that have been talked about for quite some time, but they aren't just talked about just to be put in a fairy tale novel or just to be the barbershop conversation from time to time. All right. These are things that are talked about in the scriptures, and now they're being declared openly by everybody. And in a sense, you can say that this is an example of Esau's tongue falling upon himself, because best believe they're hiding as much as they can. Even though they've disclosed a lot of those files, these devils are still hiding shit. All right. They're still hiding stuff. But again, what's done in the dark, as it's written, shall eventually come to light. And we're seeing that take place. And again, they can only so-called hide it so much. Now they got to talk about it. They got to talk about it now. But yeah, keep your eyes toward the heavens, y'all. Continue to pray, continue to fast. If the Spirit's on you to fast, pray for strength too. Because it's been, these spirits are active and they're making it harder to stay in the Spirit. So pray that you're able to stay in the Spirit. All right. Because as the scriptures say, your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh to and fro, seeking whom he may devour. All right. So just pray that we're all able to stay in the Spirit and continue to press forward unto the end, because we're that much closer to the end. All right. So I'm going to end it off there. That was pretty much it on the article. Lord willing, I'll post it on the description box. There's more to be read about it, but again, you can read it for yourself. Some interesting stuff here. It's another video on there with the 2nd congressman talking about it, using the book of Ezekiel as an example. Hell, I might watch it later and do another lesson on it. But I didn't want this to be too long. We're getting ready to start class here shortly. But I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Ruach HaKodesh. I also want to give double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say peace, blessing, and many salutations unto you elect across the 4 winds of this earth, fulfilling your lots in all truth and all sincerity. And what do you know? At the top of this Daily Mail Science website is 144 messages. You can't make this up. Shalom.